Hello there, Bill Moseley.
Hello, Zach. How you doing?
It feels like I'm turning the page, new chapter, and I get to do it with you, so that's so much fun for me. Thank you.
Well, that's great. Congrats on the new job, man.
Yeah, first of all, where are you hanging your hat these days? I feel like I see trees in the background that aren't covered in snow, so
There
you're
are
not East
trees.
Coast.
Yes, I'm out in the foothills outside of Los Angeles. I guess it's kind of
Oh,
like the where the valley starts, turning into not really mountains, but I think they call them foothills out here. Yeah, let me check my weather app, but I think we're right about 72 degrees today. Sorry, buddy.
whew, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I'm very jealous. Tell me, for someone who there aren't that many people out there who we can call legends. Do you appreciate that? Do you enjoy that? Are you like thrilled to be like the elder statesman in whatever horror movie you appear in? Or are you always like looking for new challenges, new things to do, new envelopes to push for yourself personally as an actor?
Well, I mean, I just like to work. So probably the answer is yes and yes. Um, because I just keep that's the nice thing about, and I joke with the fans at these different conventions and different jobs I do. And that is that the nice thing about this genre is the older and uglier you get, the more work you're offered. So that's good.
Well, you look
The old
fantastic, by the
scary
way.
guy versus the young scary guy. So, it's fine.
You look great in this. I love your whole look, the buttoned up kind of horror enthusiast.
Yes. Well, I provided the scorpion necktie. I mean, that's something I happen to have hanging around here. And I think I definitely worked with the wardrobe person on the maroon, really
Hmm.
going full maroon on that. So, but yeah, I love Felix Crust. I love the fact that that he's like any actor or any medium, I suppose. By day you got your day job, and then by night, you're the medium, you're the actor, or you're the singer, the writer, whatever it is. And so that made sense to me. I had certainly have been in a couple of seances in my day. Actually, one in particular prior to a short film I did called Gingerbread, which was directed by Kendall Courtney Klein and featured me as Abraham Lincoln and Amanda Plummer as Mary Todd Lincoln. And in the movie, in the short film, we have a séance trying to contact our young dead son. And so, and we did actually a séance with a professional medium to prepare for that movie. So I had some séance experience. Interesting was that movie Gingerbread was actually shot in the same house as we shot Scared to Death,
Huh.
which is called the Woodbury Story House, Woodbury Dash Story, and it's in Altadena. And I went out last night because I didn't know, and I went out kind of driving through Altadena looking for the house because I was afraid that maybe it had burned down in the Altadena fire last year. And so much of it was so weird to drive around at night because a lot of Altadena was gone, and there were just a bunch of cyclone fences and big, construction signs and everything. And but then I came back home and went online, duh, and found that it's still around. So really, really happy to hear that.
Well, I mean, I think it's great to have that perspective of being able to drive around in that spot. I mean, I feel like in our mile a minute news cycle, not to get political or anything, but we kind of forget about the devastation that happened there. And it's like they're not rebuilt yet.
Mm-mm. No, they're pretty much clear.
Hmm.
They've cleared it. And in my little town out here in the foothills, there is a DWP site, not to get too political, but that was where all these dump trucks were going into that particular place, which is uphill from us, and dumping all of the toxic materials
Wow.
from the fire zone. So that was not good. And of course, then you have, last week we had, almost a week of cloud bursts, and what is it called? The something river, the atmospheric river. And I'm just thinking about, it all flows downhill. So, but anyway, I'm so glad that house is still around. So that's good. I also
Yeah.
did a Slayer video there as well called it was Repentless, and it was the trilogy, and I got to stab Danny Trejo. So that house means a lot to me, and I'm glad it's still around.
That's great. I'm glad that you mentioned the house because I was going to mention that there's such a fantastic sense of geography that you get in the movie. Like by the end of the movie, I knew where everything was in the house.
Right?
You know, you make the filmmakers make tremendous use of that location.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if it was a set or if it was a house. And it's heartening to know that it's a real place.
Total house. I mean, from the attic where we shot, where their kids are in their little beds and they're doing the ring around the rosy, to the second story, which was where the bedrooms were on the first floor, where a lot of the seance happened. Then there's even a crawl space under the house where we found it was like, what was it, like a little treasure chest or something with
Hmm.
something in it. I don't
And the swords and the
but
head.
all done at the Woodbury store.
You're like,
Yeah,
leave it there. Don't take that. He takes it like that. Leave it.
yeah, right.
It's a very funny scene. I was also just I didn't watch the trailer going into it. I didn't read the press notes. It's like, nah, they sent me the movie. I'll just watch the movie.
Just watched the
Uh,
movie.
so I love going in blind. It's one of my favorite things about the job I have, just getting these movies and getting to see them with no, I don't want to say context, but no prejudice
Yes,
any
no
way or the
prejudice.
other,
Right?
and getting to see how funny it is. I was like, oh, this movie's hilarious. But then also some great jump scares here and there too. Tell me about like day one for you. Like, how do you sign up? Did you audition? Was it offered to you? How did this fall into your
I had
lap?
actually, I think that movie had come across the desk of my manager, Judy Fox, a couple of years ago. So it took 3 or 4 years, maybe five or six, for the movie to finally, get the money and the backing to, and the star power with Lynn Shay certainly, to get to a place where we could actually, go into production. So I'd known about it for a while. I always thought it was a cool story. I love, as I say, I love seances and haunted children and all kinds of crazy stuff. So all of that I liked. And the first day, I think we shot the opening scene, which was me, greeting Olivier, and just saying, "Here's the house," and giving him a tour, and finding out that my hero among heroes, the Grog, was in this movie they're going to make called Death House, and I got so excited. I just remember just having that as our first day, and really having never met Kurt, who played the Grog. It was so much fun to work with him. He was relative newcomer in terms of the acting world, and it was a lot of fun to play with him, play off him. I kept throwing out these, ad libs like, "Oh man, I loved you in the Big Broccoli," and just making up funny, stupid names, you know. And he was having a lot of fun. He was good at just playing it, and the whole cast was a lot of fun to work with. Again, just hanging with Lynn Shay. Again, for the third time, we've done
Right.
two other things.
And she's just such a legend as well,
Oh
but she
yeah,
gets to play so cool and so hot in
yeah,
this, like the
yeah,
leather and the shoes
yeah,
and the no nonsense and the lipstick, and I'm
yeah.
just like, I am terrified of this woman
Yeah,
as
she's
as I'm
mean
watching
too.
her.
Yes. Yeah, because we played, kind of husband and wife or whatever we were in 2001 Maniacs: Field of Screams, and then we were, of course, in this movie called Gothic Harvest, and so yeah, I went to see her in her one woman show here in Los Angeles last year, and yeah, so we've been buddies for a long time, and knowing that she was in the movie made it a lot easier to say yes. I got to say,
That's
or I
cool.
was going to say yes anyway, so maybe it was a lot quicker. Let's put it that way. At the very beginning, at the very end, Olivier is interviewed by a lady detective, and that happens to be my wife,
Oh,
Lucinda Jenny.
how about that?
Lucinda, who's been in Thinner, and I mean, just you name it, she's been it. She has a Thelma and Louise. She has a bigger resume than I do, and I inveigled her, and so she came in, and she's in it too. So
You brought her in, or was Andy like, "Hey, do you know anyone?"
no, I said, get my wife in there. No, no.
So working with Andy as he's a writer director, and you talked about, throwing out ad libs. Is he someone who's like, "No, stick to the script. I didn't write that. How dare you?" Or is he like,
No, he
"Go and
was
play"?
not. He was very accommodating.
Okay.
Because what happens is I like to. That's why I really prefer low budget indie, I guess, so that you get those kind of egos out of things. I'm sure there are some writer directors who every word is like a sacred. It's like been you've gone up to the mountain like Moses and been given these words, these special words. I don't really work as well. I can do that, but I like when I was doing Texas Chainsaw 2, 40 years ago. Speaking of Moses, I actually, at one point, I look up and I go, "Hey, lick my plate, you dog dick." And that was a total improv. I don't know where that came from. It just kind of flowed out of me. And, it became like a signature. So it's kind of funny. So it's really good. I think that any director, you don't really want the actor to rewrite your whole movie. That's a pain in the ass. But if every once in a while, we're the advanced scouts of reality. Like somebody can write something and have it in their head and write it out. But we're the ones that actually are, there on the set. They're looking into the other person's eyes. They're, gassing up the chainsaw. And so, let us at least give us a little bit of credit for, if we're see something and speak it and it helps the script and helps the story, probably it's a good idea.
Since you invoked it, you invoked Texas Chainsaw. Uh, Forgive me for following up. Um, when you were making that movie, this sequel to the original, um, I mean, I guess if you want to be a bratty, but that wasn't really the first horror movie, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Making Texas Chainsaw 2 and seeing how off the wall insane it was compared to the original. Were you like thrilled game for that like change in tone into this like outrageous pulpy over the car chase over the bridge, that wild stuff? Were you ever, or were you just like, this is awesome, this is so cool, or were you like, I don't know how this movie's gonna come together before it finally did?
I was in heaven. I never even had any of those thoughts whatsoever. I just was in it. I was in it all the way. I had never done anything like it before. I had been in a couple of movies, so I kind of knew my way around a set, but nothing like this. And yeah, I was gone. I mean, like the 2 months it took us to make that, I was like, Bill, as we knew him, was like gone. They shaved my head. I was like, crazy. We were working like 20-hour days.
You were
Uh,
chop top.
yeah.
You
And
were full.
so I really, I had no real objective, outside view of like, what are we doing? And, that was completely out of my skill set at that time. But I got to say that um, when I remember like long after we had shot Chainsaw 2, and I was at a pool party, some kind of a party around a pool in LA, some kind of a cocktail party or something. And Toby was there, and I was chatting with Toby, and Toby told me that he considered the original Chainsaw a comedy. And that freaked me out because, that scared the crap out of me. And so much so that I ended up having to see it about 7 or 8 times, which wasn't easy because that was pre VHS, basically. And I just wanted to see it so many times that it became, that it lost its power. And it never did lose its power. It just made it worse. And it was only by joining the Chainsaw family and Chainsaw 2 that that's when I realized, oh my God, I don't have to be afraid of them. I'm one of them now. So anyway, I don't know what that has to do with scared to death. I was scared to death by the original Texas Chainsaw. I just was freaked out, and so glad that I ended up joining them instead of running from them.
Sure. And then you got to bring Chop Top with you and make him iconic, make him a rock and roll star.
Are you talking about Primus?
Well,
Or
that
are you
too.
talking about corn bugs?
Yes, yes, I was talking about that.
Yeah.
But Primus as well. I mean, I knew that line from the song before I knew Texas Chainsaw 2, you know?
Dog will hunt.